Okay, I had to make a second video because one of the things that I did not, I forgot to talk about in the first video was risk management. So if we pull up the risk reward tool and, okay, actually let's do this on the micros. So you'll see that my standard, I start the day with a $250 risk currency. However, if I lose two trades, that means I've lost $500, not including break evens. I've lost $500. I immediately move this to $150. And again, remember, I am using the 150K accounts. If you're going to be doing a 50K account because you're cheap, I would suggest starting at $75 risk. And if you have two losses, jump down to $25 to $50 risk. Um, because you know again, while these signals generally firing at 75 80%, but when we're in the middle here with all this chop, you got to maintain very little risk. So even though, like today when you and I were on the phone, I mean, I was already up $3,100 on the day per account, but I still traded my risk at $250. And I had a, I had a almost loss. Like I had lost a couple points. I didn't lose the full $250. When you and I were talking, I jumped down to 150 bucks. But then as I saw price coming in, I added a few more. I can add a few more contracts. I didn't on that particular trade because I got in with 15 contracts, and on a perfect volume imbalance, but well, almost perfect. You saw it. It went to the second volume imbalance, but so that is the key to to me the most important part of my strategy is dropping down. If you take a couple of losses, dropping down your risk to half of what roughly half of what you've been trading, because once you catch that move, you make it all back. You make it all back. But I'm always very cautious of even like this morning. I started my risk because I looked at the volatility and I saw how big the bars were. I started my risk at $150. When I made that $100, my risk was $150 per signal. And then once I got up to, I think I was up like 1,200 bucks. I added some contracts, and I added a bunch of contracts. So because I knew, at that point I was on Lanto's seminar thing, his webinar, and he was looking for long, so I went ahead and added a bunch more to get me to my target. But I was in. That's the wonderful thing about this thing. It gets you in so early. I was in the trade long before Lanto got into the trade. So once he had confidence of it going to his targets or getting in, I was able to add significantly to the trade. I think, if I remember correctly, I think I was in with like six contracts, and then when Lanto was sure where he was going or where price was going, I added 20 more. You know, and I had zero drawdown on that trade. I mean, so technically, I only took two trades this morning. I think it was just two trades, something like that. But so yeah, I wanted to just clarify that part of it because it's just as important as how much you're risking is equally as important as where you how you're entering. All right, cool. Now I'm gonna end this video and later.